Hello, you're watching Tulip Swift. Today I'm finally telling you about my experience at BookCon 2016, and I'm going to show you all the books I got and the arcs and chapter samplers, and a lot of them are signed, and I just have a lot of good stories to tell you, and some of them kind of disappointing, but for the most part, I think you'll enjoy it. And by the way, this is very different from BEA. BEA is 3 days. BookCon's usually 2, but this year is 1. And it's my first time going to BookCon, my first time going to a convention. I'm not going to be like having a stack of books in this hall because that's what BEA is for, and it's because you're a professional. Okay, let's just get started. We get to McCormick Place and there's just this really long line. So literally the entire convention is in one line. So it takes us maybe like 15 or 20 minutes to find the end of the line. Then you get to like the queue hall. There's all these lines for different shoots, and each shoot has like maybe like 10 authors and you can pick one. Right when I got into McCormick Place at 7 a.m. and I'm like, yeah, I guess I won't meet any author that I want to. I thought I had no chance. So I got to the queue hall, but you know whose name was already crossed off? Sarah J. Maas. Frickin' queen! Everyone thought she was low-key and they could get in. So I get in the line for Veronica Roth. I get my Veronica Roth wristband. I went into a line for James Dashner, the author of The Maze Runner. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes after I get in the line, they say James Dashner's full. Rochelle Mead was my next choice. And then she was full, and then Laini Taylor was full, and then literally the last author in this shoot was Cami Garcia, who co-wrote Beautiful Creatures. So I was like, you know what? Cami Garcia wrote a great series, and I'm not gonna take this and pass it up, so I'm taking the wristband for Cami Garcia. And I got a wristband for Meg Cabot. It was still a few hours until doors for the hall opened. I met some really cool people. We talked about Taylor Swift. So I finally get onto the show floor, and I'm looking for the line for Alexandra Bracken because her signing starts at like 10:30. That's 30 minutes after the show floor opens. So I'm looking for a very long time. The line moves really slow. I was holding my paperback Darkest Minds, and I read chapter 25, which is like the most emotional chapter. I was reading it in line, and I had to put it down, and I'm like, not now. I get to the front of the line. She had purple eyelids, but it was like all sparkles, and she was just so cool, and I just want to like talk to her about like life and books and makeup, but I'm like, oh, I forgot that we're not friends. Like, I'm just a fan here. So this is the first time I've ever met an author. I told her, I love The Darkest Minds. It's so good. I love it. Because that's the capability I have to speak at this moment. She gave me chapter sampler. It's chapters 1 through 3 of Wayfarer that comes out in 2017, and she was writing in purple Sharpie, which was so cute. I brought this from home, but she wrote For Abby with Love, Alex, in purple in this one, and then they gave me 2 bookmarks and 3 buttons. So I look at my wristband and it says Veronica Roth 12:15. I'm like, okay, I should head over there. And I made a really good friend in that line, so it all was worth it. And Veronica Roth literally looks like an angel. She's right there. I'm so close. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell Veronica Roth that my mom just called me, and I'm gonna make it funny, and I'm gonna make a good experience out of this, and it won't be like Alexandra Bracken, who was queen, who I messed it up. So I get to the front. Veronica looks at me and she's like, hi. I said, I adore everything that you have written. Her voice went like higher, and she went, oh, thank you. And I was like, oh, nailed it. And so I told her, like 2 seconds ago, my mom just called me, and I was like, not now. I'm meeting Veronica Roth. And she laughed, and that was a big deal for me. And she even goes, not now, Mom. And I was like, good impression. That sounds like me. And so she slid this baby over to me, and I say, I can't wait to read it. And she goes, thank you. And then I leave like I'm skipping. I'm like, I totally did a great job. She was so nice. And I have my first 12 pages of the book. It's like on the dot, the time that the blockbuster panel starts. This panel has Rochelle Mead, James Dashner, Cassandra Clare, some other guy that I can never remember his name, but it starts with Brian. And I'm like, I really want to get into this panel. It's the only other thing Cassandra's doing all day. So I get into an elevator and I look to my left, and then I go, hey, I know you guys, because it was the Property Brothers. I was like, I watch your show. And then right after I said that, I was like, that's a lie. I don't watch your show. I watched 1 episode of your show. And then they go, oh, thanks. And then they go, what authors are you seeing? And then I was like, oh, you know, some authors. And I don't know, I was nervous. And they were like, how long did you wait in line to meet those authors? And I was like, oh, it's so long, you know? And then it was like quiet. And then some other guy was like, I think they want to know which authors. And I was like, oh. And I didn't think they would know them, so I didn't say them. But then after I was prompted, I said them. So I get out of the elevator, and first I'm like, oh my god, I just met the Property Brothers. And I sprint down to the end of the hall to where I believe the panels are. And the doors are closed, there's no one there. Hi, so, what's up with the Blockbuster panel? I know it started 10 minutes ago, but I just really want to see them. And they're like, oh, like, those are completely to capacity, like, we cannot let you in. And then they told me, like, the trend is that people are lining up an hour before the panel. And, like, I wasn't mad at myself. I just kind of, like, felt really embarrassed. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna meet Sasha Alsberg. Again, this took me so long to find their booth. And so I finally see a giant line, and I know that they're only signing for a half an hour. I was just walking towards the line, and then the BookCon person says, I'm sorry, this line is closed. And I'm like, of course it is. And I like walk away like cheerfully. I'm like, oh, of course it is. So I walked right by their table and I saw them signing. I got some footage of them signing, and it was just so cool to see them in person. And I kind of walked away kind of upset, but you know. I went over to Cami Garcia. The person in front of me said, yeah, she tweeted that the first 20 in line get an arc of her new book. And I'm like, I made the right decision coming to this line early. So we waited in line for like 45 minutes. Cami Garcia was the same shoot as Cassandra Clare. So about 4 or 5 tables down, I saw her signing books, and I saw her hair was blue, and I just saw her in person, and she didn't see me, and she was really far away. It meant something to me, and it was really good to see her. Once Cami's out, like, I got signed right away. It was awesome. And she was signing as many books as you wanted. So I was like, I'm gonna buy a book. So I bought Dangerous Deception. A lot of people got the arc. And it's called The Lovely Reckless by Cami Garcia. And it made me think of The Pretty Reckless with like Taylor Momsen, and like, it's a band, okay? An arc. Like, I've never gotten an arc before. That's so cool. It doesn't come out till freaking October, and I'm holding it. I'm holding it in my hands, and I've read it. It was really good. We're talking about Beautiful Creatures. This book's about Ridley. So I go, you know, I love Ridley so much. She's like one of my favorite characters. And then Cami goes, you know, my mom thought that Ridley was based on her, and then we never told her that she wasn't. And then she's talking about Margaret Stoll, and she calls her Margie. And I'm like, oh, best friends. And she goes, at the movie premiere, she told everyone that Ridley was based on her. And then Margie told me not to say anything. And I thought that was so funny. She was really sweet, and we were basically friends at this point. I leave Cami Garcia. I'm smiling. I'm holding an arc. I have a new copy of a book. In like the show floor, there's a big panel area, and Meg Cabot's on the stage with like 2 or 3 other authors. And I'm like, you know what? That's Meg Cabot. You know, I really wanted to see her today, and so I'm gonna see her, because at this point I realized that I was gonna miss the Meg Cabot signing because it ended right when Booksplosion started, and I could not sacrifice my spot in the Booksplosion panel. I had to be there. And so I texted my mom, like, can you get her signature for me? My mom's like, of course. And then I thought I would never see her, but as I was leaving, she was doing that panel on the show floor. And then so I stood there for maybe like 10 minutes. I heard a little bit about her, and I just got again, like, just seeing her in person just like really meant a lot to me. She's cool. So I left there. At this point, it's 2 hours until the Booksplosion panel. And then I had an interaction with Pierce Brown. So I'm walking through the show floor, and it's really crowded. He was just like scooting past people like a civilian. You can't capture it in pictures. His eyes are so blue. I literally just went hi. People waited in line for hours for that smile, and I just got it like that. Not worthy. And so I go up the floor, and they're like, there's not a line, but you can go into the panel that's happening right now because it's not full, and you can just save a seat. So this panel was actually diversity in books, and it was so good, and I didn't know any of these authors, but they said such good things. I really enjoyed this panel. After this panel was Sarah J. Maas, Victoria Aveyard, and Laini Taylor. Oh, and don't forget Jeff, who is the moderator. He was hilarious. So Jeff comes on, and Jeff reads some really, really funny Goodreads reviews of each of the authors. It was just kind of like I died, literally dead, but like to the maximum. That was the reviews that Jeff read, and all the authors were cracking up. And then Laini Taylor had such pink hair. I was convinced that Laini Taylor is magical. I was talking to some other people, and then I told them how I really wanted to meet a Book Utopia and Tashopolis, and then they were like, oh, we were in that line, we met them. And then this one girl, her friend, like, didn't know who any of these YouTubers were. Oh, by any chance, would you like to give me one of them? And then she was like, sure. And she gave me this signed picture of Tasha. And I was like, that's so sweet. And I'm just so pretty. And I'm really glad I have it. And I love Tasha. So that was exciting. And then people were walking down the aisle and passing these out. But Laini Taylor does not disappoint. Woo! Like, this is a good, like, 120 pages. Next in here, oh, they're all pins. I thought the square ones were magnets. They're so pretty. I love them. So this panel was great. So Booksplosion was next. Sasha's publisher was actually passing out cards. Lindsay Cummings signed it, which is the co-author. Sasha didn't sign this one. I'm like, whatever, at least I have it. The door opens and first come out like all these booktubers, but not Booksplosion, just like booktubers. Then it's freaking Christine, and with her is Kat and Jesse. They walk in the room and everyone's screaming, "This is real, they're here, it's so exciting." And they get up on the panel and they were so silly. They played Two Truths and a Lie, and then really the whole panel was question and answer. The room was packed. To finish the day with Booksplosion just felt really great. A lot of people left because the meet and greet was going on for so long, and then eventually they said Booksplosion's not allowed to sign anything and they're not allowed to hug you. That's what I get for sitting here and waiting patiently, because I could have snuck up there, but I sat and I didn't want to get in trouble. I was really close and I took some footage, and then I was just like shaking, and then I was just like really tired because I've been at BookCon all day. I just really wanted to talk to Christine about Shadowhunters because she faced so much criticism on her reviews, and I wanted to say, as a fan of the TV show, I just wanted to talk to her about that. So this is me. I come up to Christine. I was like, "Christine, I love Shadowhunters and I've watched all your reviews and I think you're so respectful of the show and I just really appreciate it and you do a great job." So like immediately after I did my spiel, I was looking at the ground, wasn't I? And then I just looked at all of them. I can't believe I'm actually meeting you. And then Jesse starts like poking me on the shoulder and he goes, "We are here, we are real." And he literally made up a song. So I took my picture and I was like, "Hey, can we do a silly one?" And then they did a silly one. It wasn't over yet because next was Tasha and Sasha. And by the way, Tasha is so tall. So I had this planned. I feel like I'm meeting the princesses in Disney World. And by the way, I was so proud of this line. And then I kept walking and I walked into Marie and Kiwi, and then like we got a hug and a picture, which was a selfie. Once I was hearing her voice, I was like, okay, I can't not tell her this. I told her that you sound just like my friend Sophia. And she was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's creepy. You sound just like her." And she's a redhead too. And then she's like, "Maybe we're clones in another land." And I was like, "Oh, that's so funny." And then I went to Read by Zoe, and she was so nice. And we took a selfie. And then I walked out of there, and then I left with my mom and my sister, and we met up. And then my mom showed me the book that she got signed by Meg Cabot for me. I really want to make this video before I forgot one detail of BookCon. Thank you for watching this whole thing. I love you so much. I love BookCon so much. I couldn't not tell you guys I was in the elevator with the Property Brothers, so that's why I made this video. Okay, I'll wrap it up now. Thank you for watching. I love you so much. Bye!